What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. Well, I look forward to the Acolyte every single week, but not for the reasons Disney probably thinks I do. Just, to see, much like the preacher in Kingdom Come, I bear witness to destruction and or what exactly little change and or thing they've tried to do. Leslye has done a pretty interesting interview, but before we get to that, I just want to show that we are indeed still in 14% territory. The viewing numbers, not good. They've gone down and down by 60% by some metrics, which apparently Screen Rant does not share because they put out a Super Cope article that I would almost hazard to say is lies, which of course was immediately called to task by that Park Place, showing all the other viewing numbers. It gets pretty boring, but let's just say none of those other viewing numbers, including Disney's own viewing numbers reported, match what that Screen Rant our article said. So it has its fans clearly, or its court-ordered protectors. Either way, Leslye did this interview with Inverse, and she actually Inverse rather. We covered some of the other things. I missed like this latter half of it. And so she talks about Cortosis, and she talks about, because anything the internet ships now, these people just do. So here we go. Here's talking about Cortosis, which everyone is still on the headbutting the lightsabers and this and that. So, and also we find out who she got Cortosis from, or at least because no one believed that Leslye actually knew about Cortosis, that she would ever read anything in the expanded universe, and the expanded universe is indeed where it's from. Spoiler, it was Pablo Hidalgo. So after watching the Stranger fight, a lot of people are talking about Cortosis. Were there any other Legends elements, fuck you, expanded universe, that you wanted to integrate into the Acolyte? Oh, it's too tiring to do her voice. That's a really good question. It's a spoiler though, but Cortosis was a big one. It's a tricky thing because how she says this line without bursting in flames and or laughing, I don't know. Because you respect George Lucas in the sense that you don't want to weaken the power of a lightsaber. Yeah, because in every other sense, we know you don't respect him. It's almost hallowed in that sense. Hallowed. Not just within the series, but in pop culture. And yes, famously, George had a thing where he said he didn't want to see a lightsaber blocked by anything else than another lightsaber. And then George contradicts himself by coming up with frick metal with a P, which is what the Magna Guard staff, weapon that Count Dooku's defenders and others were using. So yeah, you can evolve over time, but for the most part, nothing can stop a lightsaber but another lightsaber, or frick metal, or Cortosis, or I think like one or two others. Beskar. Oops. So yeah, views change a little bit. So respecting him in that sense, but in pop culture. But Cortosis was such a great new element, and I always thought of it as such a cool thing to incorporate. Lucasfilm lore consultant Pablo Hidalgo, remember the guy that cried at Star Wars Theory when he made fun of Star Wars Theory for Star Wars Theory tearing up at Luke coming back in Mandalorian season 2. Great guy. Star Wars Theory, not him. And I worked on a lot of the machinations of it before we started designing it. It was very important that it be breakable, that it not be super hard. That's why Jeki can get the helmet off him so quickly. It's kind of a brittle thing. There's also a limited resource, which is why he doesn't have a full suit of armor, and it only works for a minute. We really worked hard because we didn't want it to look too powerful, too goofy. Meanwhile, everyone's saying it looks goofy. The rarity is there, yes, and the brittleness. It's like, yes, that's why it's so hard to forge it, but when you do forge it, it's strong. It looked like the only thing it broke was the clasp. So that's the Cortosis story, but the other legend stuff we can talk about after the finale. Now, here's the big one. The internet is quickly shipping Osha and Qimir. What can we expect from their relationship now that they're stuck together? And well, how do I answer this? Well, tee-hee. Are you into the good girl, bad guy pairing? I mean, enemies to lovers, baby, but I don't even think that this is good girl against bad guy. I think it's more like, okay, I'll put it this way. I really love that line in A New Hope when Obi-Wan says Vader was seduced by the dark side. Always loved that word seduced. I can also say that I was sent one fanfic, which I'm really glad. has already started, and I was absolutely surprised by how prescient it was. So it's probably something where Qimir shows her the ways of pleasure, the dark side, and seduces her, and they're lover baddies now. Yeah, all right. And I think you can get where they're going to go with this. That's enough. That's enough. So let me know. Are you now shipping Qimir and Osha? Are you even watching? Are you just watching us to see us meme on it? Because yeah, while people say nothing happened in that last episode, I actually think we found out quite a bit, and that is Chimir's no Sith. He's a dark side user. He's no Sith. He may have been the apprentice to a Sith at one point, but he was betrayed and left for dead. He was also a Jedi once, and he got left by them too. So he'd been screwed over by both. So yeah, not a Sith, not a Sith. And while we keep hearing that there is another Sith master, which would make sense, I think what is actually out there is just another Darksider. And that Darksider is Coral, the Zabrak Iridonian mother that carried them. And that's where he's got some of his The Power of Many. Anyway, let me know what you think of this. Be sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.